Okay. So yesterday we just understood that how to read the data from file, right? Okay. So we have seen how to create a text file, how to create how to write the data into the text file, and how to access the existing file, and then how to write the data into that, or how to read the data from internal. Okay, so that's what we have learned. Today we will learn a different thing. Okay. So we will learn how to deal with some activities related to the files, like copying the files from one location to another location, or moving the files from one location to another location, or deleting the files, or checking a file is exist or not. Okay, so some activities like that. Now when you are doing these activities, right, remember these activities are not related to only text files. This, like copying, deleting, moving, all these activities are for all kinds of files that whatever we have. You can move the file, any kind of file it is. It can be exe file, it can be Word document, Excel document, PDF document, or any kind of file, whatever it is. You can move from one location to another location, and you can copy from one location to another location. The difference between move and copy is like copy and paste. Source will be there, destination also will be there. But when you move it, then it is cut and paste. Okay, that's what move means for. Or you can delete and all. These kind of activities can be done on any kind of file. Okay, not only the text files, but create text file, writing the data, reading the data and all, only from text streams. But these kind of activities can be done on any kind of file by using file system object. Okay, and not only that, these kind of activities, also certain situations what you need to do is you may need to retrieve some kind of information from the files. Information is like this. What is the name of the file? It's information is nothing but the property here. What is the name of the file? Name property. What is the size of the file? What is the type of the file? Okay, so is it an exe, or is it an executable file, or is it an VBS file, or is it a Word document? What kind of file it is, or when that file is created, when the file was modified last time. These are some information, nothing but the properties. So you may need to retrieve the information of that file. Then how do we do that? And also changing the name of the file. Few things like this we can perform. These kind of activities today, whatever the activities that we are going to perform, this kind of activities can be performed on any type of file it is. It has to be file, that's it, but it's not mandatory to be a text file. It can be exe, PDF, Word document, Excel, or anything it is. Okay, so we will take one by one scenario now, and then we'll see. Then first what I will do is set OFSO equals to create object. Then what I am doing, first thing I need to create the file system object. For everything you create the file system object here. You create the file system object. Now I have two folders here. One is location 1 and another one is location 2. But in the reality, it can be a maybe a different folder names and different locations. Okay, no problem. But just for a learning purpose, I have created two folders. Then let me open both the folders here. This is location 1 and this is location 2. Location 2 is empty. Okay, and FSO contains the scripts here, whatever the script that we are going to write. Okay, now first thing that what I have to do is, in the location 1 there are some files, right? Then I will give one file here, maybe this Word document I have. Okay, so let me display the extensions. Okay, so I have a file like this. Maybe I have something called test.docx Word document it is. Then I need to copy this file. Let me have some text inside that. This is So I'm just writing some text here. I want to copy this file from this location to another location. Here I want to copy the file. Then how do we copy the file? That's the question here. Then to copy the file, what we do is we have a method called, in the FSO we have a method called copy file. So the method copy file is used to copy the file from one location to another location. Okay, copy file is the method name. You can use that to copy from one location to another location. Then, so there are total 3 inputs for this particular method. Out of 3, 2 inputs are mandatory and 1 input is optional. The mandatory inputs are like this. One is the source, what is the file that you want to copy, and you have to give the absolute path of the source. That means you have to give the path where that file is, and along with that you have to give the file name. So you have to give the absolute path of the source, what is the file that you want to copy, and destination. Destination means where that file has to be pasted. That is a destination location. So destination also you have to give the absolute path here. Destination path along with the file name. While pasting, you want to paste with the same name, or you want to change the name of the file while pasting it. So you have to provide the source path and you have to provide the destination path. Okay, those are 2 inputs which are mandatory. The third input is overwriting. In case, now assume that you are pasting a file in the destination, but that file is already there in the destination. That file, whatever the file that you are pasting, there is a file with that same name. Whatever the name that you have given, there is a file with the same name in the destination. So if the file is already there in the destination, do you want to overwrite that existing file, or you don't want to overwrite? Okay, so that's what it is. Then that is optional. If you want to overwrite, you give as true. If you don't want, you give it as false. Okay, let's see what is the default. Then, so copy file, and first I am giving the source path. What is the file that you want to copy? This one. Then take that, since it is a big path, then instead of directly giving here, I am saying str source equals to, I am giving the source path to this variable, str source. Then str destination, I will give this. Str destination equals to this. Then you must have not only just till the folder, you have to give the name of the file along with the extension also. Remember one thing here, when you are copying a file and pasting it in a different location, while pasting, that means in the destination, you can give a different file name. So file name not mandated to be the same file name as like in the source. In the destination, it can be a different file name. Then I'm giving the file name as, just say sample file .docx. File is same here, but in the source the file name is test, and in the destination the file name should be given as sample file. The same file will be pasted, but at the time of pasting it will change the name. Then now what I am doing is copy file, give the source here, comma, give the destination. Copying file. Now execute this file. This is the script. Copy file, and you can see the source, the file is there, and you can see the destination, file is pasted here. If you look at the content of the file, same whatever we have written, that means that it's a same file, but if you look at that, name has been changed a little bit, right? So in the source it is remain test, and but in the destination the name has been changed. So this is what the copy file. Copy file means, based on the source, that whatever you provide, then it will copy that source file and then paste in the destination. Now I will re-execute the same script. This time whatever the destination that I have given there, destination is there here. So the file is already there. Let's see, will this overwrite or will it throw the error saying that the file is already exist? No error has been thrown, right? So no error has been thrown. That means that it is overwriting. Okay, it is overwriting. So if there is a file already there in the destination, it will overwrite the destination file here. But if you say that no, I don't want to overwrite the destination. If the file is already there in the destination, okay, give me error saying that the file is already there, don't overwrite it. Then what you can do is, after destination giving, then give it as false here. Default it is true, give it as false for the third input. If when you give it as false, that means you are not overwriting, you are asking not to overwrite. Okay. Now instead of overwriting, it throws the error saying that file already exists. Okay. So if you don't give that, default it will take it as true and then it will overwrite by default. So this is what copy file means for. So at a time you can copy to only one destination, remember that. So the syntax is like this: copy file, source path, destination path, and overwrite or not to overwrite, true or false. Then one more thing that you remember here, as I told, you can change the name of the file in the destination, right? You can change. So we have given like that. Source, the name, file name was test, and in the destination I had given a different name. Also along with that, you can also change the extension. Not only the name, you can also give a different extension, but it will not convert the content and all, but it will change only the extension. Now let's say some simple example. Okay, I'm not sure if you have used this or not. You want to send a file through email, but that file whatever you want to send is an exe file. Okay, so it's an executable file and you want to send email. How do you send it? You cannot send the exe files through email. You cannot do the attachment. It will immediately throw the error saying that executable files cannot be sent through email. What will you do? Any technique used here? What we do is we just temporarily change the extension. From exe file to txt we will change the extension and we will send the txt file. But it's not like we are converting from exe to txt. We are just only changing the extension, type of the file we are changing, so that we can send it. Then while downloading it, then I will change from txt to exe again after downloading that file. So that's how normally we send it. So like this here also it will work. When you are pasting it from here, when you are copying and pasting in the destination, while pasting you can give a different file name. Along with that you can give a different file extension also. Okay, from DOCX you can give a txt extension, you can give XLS extension or anything that you can give. But it's not like it is converting into Excel, from document to Excel. It is just changing only the extension, that's it. Okay, remember that. You got what is meant by copy file? Copy file is used to copy the file from one location to another location. Next, now what I have to do is I need to move the file from one location to another location. It's not copy file, move. You know what is meant by move? It's a cut and paste. So when you do cut and paste, when you do the copy and paste, source will be there and destination also will be there. But when you do move, cut and paste, then it will delete from source and it only destination will be there. Then what I am doing is here, save as, saying move dot move file. Method name is move file. So move file means moving the file from one location to another location. Move the file from one location to another location. then what I am doing is, here only two inputs for this, one is the source, second one is a destination. This is source and second one is a destination. No overwriting option, but let's see whether they have not given any option to overwrite it, but whether it will overwrite by default or not, let us see. Now move file it is. So destination source I am giving as test.dreddy. This is the file, and the destination I am giving to location 2. Okay, but the destination is already there. Whatever the file name I have given in the destination, it is already there. Let's see whether it will overwrite or not. It throws the error. If the file is already there in the destination, it will not overwrite. You don't have any option to overwrite. For move file, you don't have any option to overwrite. If the file is already there in the destination, it throws the error saying that file is already there. So then whenever you do that, make sure that you don't have the file in the destination, and then now it's moved. And if you look at the source here, it can move from source, but earlier it was there because we did copy paste. Now we did cut and paste. Okay, now if the file is already there, what did we do? We deleted that file manually, and then again we are moving. But when you are doing your automation testing, everything should be handled, all these situations. When you are writing the script, you have to think about all preconditions, and then you have to write the script accordingly. So when you are moving a file, preconditions are like this. Whatever the source file that you have given, that file must exist in the source. That is first precondition. Second precondition is, whatever the file that you have given in the destination, that file should not exist in the destination. That is second precondition. So how your script should work is, if you directly write move file, what happens is, if the source file is not there, it will throw the error. Now the source file is not there. What is the source file that I have given here? Test.dreddy. But is that file there? File is not there now. It just moved to destination in previous execution. So this file is not there in location 1. That file is not there. But I am giving the same source to move or copy, anything, whatever it is. If I run the script now, what happens? It will throw the error saying that file not found. Whatever the source file, whatever the file that you want to copy, that file is not there now. So what you have to do, when you look at that error, people think that that is a problem with the script. But actually that is not the problem with the script here. What's the problem? Problem is with the source. That file, whatever the file that you have given, that file is not there. Problem is from source actually, not from the script. But when you look at that error message, what people think is, immediately people will give complaint saying that, hey, your script is not working. Please check that. But the real problem is not with the script. We have used the right method, but we have, the file that whatever we have given, that file is not there. So why they have complained? Because they did not understand the error message properly. So in this case, what you have to do is, your script should work in this way. First, before you copy that or move it, see whether the source file exists or not. If the source file exists, then you copy it. If the source file doesn't exist, what should you do? Give a message box saying that the file whatever you are trying to copy or move, that file does not exist in the source. So this time they will understand, right? So instead of throwing the error, what you have to do, you have to display the message. That's called error handling also. And second precondition is that file should not exist in the destination. Then what you have to do is, if the destination file already exists, you delete that destination file before you move it. Got what I am saying here? Okay. So the question is here, there are two things have come. One thing, we are checking whether the file exists or not. Source and destination both we are checking. Second thing is, in the destination what we are doing, if the file exists, we are deleting it. Right? Okay. So first question is, how can we check the file exists or not? File exists or not, how can we verify that? Write down the method. Method name is file exist. Method name is file exist. FSO dot file exist of not only source, any path it can be. Whatever the file that you are checking, give the file path. This method is used to verify whether the file exists or not. If the file exists, then it returns true. If the file does not exist, then it returns false. Okay. Now, script will be like this. If file exist equals to true, you move this, else, okay, you have to write then here. So my script, what I am saying here, I am giving the source path to check. If this file exists, returns true, equal to true, then move that. Otherwise, give a message box saying that given source file does not exist, please recheck path. And if. So what I am doing now, so before I move that file, I am checking whether the file exists or not, the source file. If that source file exists, then only you copy it. How can you say it exists? If the file exists, that file exist method will return true. If the file does not exist, file exist method will return false. Okay, so these kind of things are irrespective of the language. Any language and any automation tool, your scripting should be implemented in this way always. Okay, so this is called error handling. I mean, we are not fixing the errors, but before we are avoiding the errors here. Before we get that errors, we are checking for those preconditions and providing appropriate information. If there is any problem, so user will be properly intimated what's the problem exactly. Then now it says that. So this time it did not throw the error. Instead of throwing the error, then what it is doing here? It is displaying the message saying that okay, file does not exist here. So user will be very clear on what is the problem, right? Okay, so now you got it, what is meant by file exist. So you are verifying Word document, you can give any file whatever it is. The next thing is, if the source file exists, next condition is destination. If the destination file exists, it has to delete the destination file and then paste the file again. So what I am doing is, if the source file exists, if OFSO dot file exist of str destination equal to true. If the file exists, we are writing nested condition. Nested condition will execute only when the main condition is true. Okay, if the destination folder file also exists, then what should I do? I have to delete the destination file. Then how can you delete the file? Write down another method. OFS4 dot delete file. Method name is delete file. This method is used to delete the file. This method is used to delete the file. Okay, delete the file. Now there is one input for this. Just give the absolute path of the file, what file you want to delete it. So what we are doing now, if the source file exists, then check for destination file also. If the destination file exists, you delete it, and then once you do that, then only you move the file. So this is how you delete the file, or you copy the file, or you move the file. Simple, 4 methods: copy file, move file, file exists, and delete file. Okay. So this, you can use this for any kind of file it is. Here I am using for Word document. You can use it for text file, you can use it for PDF file, or you can use it for exe file or anything. But one thing that you remember is, when you are pasting in the destination, you are moving or copying whatever it is, when you are pasting in the destination, you can give a different file name and you can give a different extension also. You will see those examples going forward, how you can paste with a different extension. Now let's say, for example, I have created one text file, okay, with txt extension. Inside that I will write some HTML source code. What I have to do is, I need to convert the txt into HTML. Then what you do is, you take that file, txt file, while pasting it, you paste with .html extension, from txt to .html extension. Like this we use. So going forward we will see them many more. Okay. So now what I am doing is, file source file I am creating. So file, that source file is there now, test.docx, it is there. Destination also there. Okay. So what I am doing is, I am just keeping some wait period after deleting, so just for observation, see whether it is deleting or not. Otherwise script will be very fast, immediately it will delete and paste it, so you may not be able to see whether it is deleted or not. So I am giving some wait period. There is something called wscript.sleep, you don't need to write that, that's coming next. Okay. Now move file, you can see it's deleted here in the destination. That's what delete file means for. Then you can see that file has been pasted. So when I say delete file, it will delete the source. Whatever the file path that you give, that file will be deleted. Okay. So these 4 methods we have to copy, move, and delete. Okay, but before you move, before you copy, or before you delete, first thing that you have to do, precondition for all this is, file should exist. Whatever the file that you want to copy, whatever the file that you want to move, or whatever the file that you want to delete, file should exist, then only these methods can be performed. So on top of these methods you use file exist, and then you write the method. Okay, got what I am saying here? So this is what copying or moving the files. Okay, next we'll move further. Next thing is here, I will add one more condition. Same thing I will use, or maybe you can use any other file, or whatever it is, you can use any other file. If the file, whatever the file, that test.docx, if the file is empty, if the file is empty, you should not copy it or you should not move it. If the file is empty, you delete the file permanently. If the file is not empty, you copy it or you move it to different location. Got what I am saying? So if the file is empty, you delete it. If the file is not empty, you copy it, don't delete it. Then the question is here, how can you say file is empty or non-empty? Just by looking at that, can you say it's empty or non-empty? Observe what happens. What happened here? Look at the size. Size is earlier it was 0 KB. When we did not paste anything inside that, it was 0 KB. And when you have some content inside the file, obviously it will have some size, not the 0 KB. So the criteria for us to understand whether that file is empty or non-empty, get the size of that file. Size is one of the property. If the size is 0 KB, you delete that. If the size is not 0 KB, then you move that or copy it. Okay. So the question is now, how can I get that information of that file? Property it is. Every information will be retrieved through some properties, obviously. How do we get that? That means here what we are trying to understand how to retrieve the properties, values of the properties for a particular file. It can be any file again. Okay, it can be a TXT file, can be PDF, can be Word document, can be exe or anything, whatever it is. You know, INI file, all those. The question is, how do we do that? So whenever you want to retrieve the properties of the file or to retrieve the information about a file, first thing that what you have to do is, you cannot directly get that information. First you need to access the file. First you access the file from, for which file you want to retrieve the properties. You access the file and store that file in one variable. First you retrieve the file or access the file and store it in one variable. So that means you are assigning that file to one variable. You don't need to create file or you don't need to open the file. You need to access it internally, that's it. Then whenever you want to retrieve the information about this file, use that variable, whatever the variable that you have used to assign that file. Then by using that variable you can retrieve all the properties or methods related to that file. Okay. So now first question is here, how can I access the file? Right now, method name is get file. Method name is get file. This method is used to access a file to retrieve the information, retrieve the properties and methods of that file. To access a file, why do we access? For retrieving properties and methods of that file. For retrieving methods, properties and methods of the file. Okay, right. Now I'm just removing this and I will delete all this. set O file. You know why I am using set here? Because that I am accessing the file and storing the variable. File is nothing but an object. Okay, so it's an object type. Then OFSO dot get file of whatever the file that you want to access. This is the file that I am accessing. Okay, so now what this does is, this method, it will go and access that file internally and stores that file in this variable. Now by using this variable, you can retrieve all the information about that particular file. Okay, first thing that now what I have to do is, I need to retrieve the size of the file. What I have to do, if the file is empty, you delete it. If the file is not empty, don't delete it. Okay, then later we copy it. We will write the script for copy and run. Then how do you say that file is empty or non-empty? You can see the list of properties and methods have been displayed for this, right? As soon as I press dot, then you say size, that file dot size. When you say that file dot size, it will retrieve the size of the file. Now let me display that, what exactly it is displaying. What is that? It is 13 KB, right? Exactly 12.2 KB is the size. This is the script. You run this. What it is returning? What is that? It's just 13 KB, right? But it is returning some thousands. It's bytes. Remember, the size will be always written in the form of bytes here. Whatever it is. 1024 bytes equals to 1 KB. 1024 KBs equals to 1 MB. 1024 MBs equals to 1 GB always. Okay. So that means it is retrieving the size in bytes. If you want to retrieve in KBs, you can't do it, you can't retrieve it, but you convert from bytes to KBs. What will you do? Size by 1024. Okay. This is what the exact size of the file. Now, in case if the file is empty, create a new file. Okay, it is 0. Just one, right? It is 0. Now what you can do is, if file size equals to 0, then you can say OFSO.delete file, or you can say that file you are accessing that, right? File.delete. You can also perform those methods. Whatever the file that you are accessing, you delete that file. So if the file is empty, you delete it. So what will happen here? File is empty, 0 it is. That file has been deleted. If you give this, that file is not empty, it has got some size. That is not deleted because it is not 0 KBs, it has got some size for it. So that's how you retrieve the size of the file. Like this you can retrieve many other properties. Now if you want to retrieve the type of the file, what type of file it is, depends on the path that you have given, what type of file it is. Say o file dot type. Then it is Word document. And if you want to change the name of the file, okay, if you want to retrieve or change the name of the file, then what you can do is, if you want to retrieve the file name, then you can say str file name equals to o file dot name, message box, str file name. That is the name of the file, whatever we have given. And if you want to change the name of the file, say same property you can use, name property, but you say like this, some sample file dot doc. Same thing here. If you use the name at right side, then you are retrieving. If you use that name property at left side and right side, if you give value, you are changing the name. First it is test.docx, set, and once you execute that, name has been changed. If you run again, what will happen? It will throw the error because the test.d file is not there. The test file is not there. The source, whatever you have given, source file does not exist. So then it will not be able to access it. Then if you want to understand when the file was created, you have some other properties like this. O file dot date created, to understand when the file is created. Date modified, to understand when the file was modified. Last accessed, when last time you have opened the file. So like this we have different properties available, but we don't use all the properties. Normally we use for getting the type of the file, to get the name of the file, and to get the size of the file, few things like that. But what we are doing now, first we are accessing the file by using getFile method, then we can access the properties and methods related to it. This can be, whatever we have discussed now, this can be performed for any of the file, whatever the type of file it is, you can perform these actions. Okay, where do we use this? Now let's say here, as it, we may use some logs. We may use some logs. When you use some the logs, in a sense, result files we create. I assume that I am running one script. For the script, if I run the script for 20 times today, all today's results must be in one file. Before the result file will be like this, log file.txt. That is the name of the file that I have given, that will be there in one location. Before I write into the log file, what I have to do is I need to verify first whether the log file is there or not. If the log file is there, see whether it is created today or not, because for one day one log file has to be created. If the log file is not created, log file was created yesterday or some day, not today, what I have to do? I should not delete that log file. Take that log file, paste it in server. All the log files will be in one different server. So you have to move that file from here to another location. So you use move file method to get whether the file is created today or not today. Then you use, first you get by using get file, you access that log file, date created method use. Then okay, after moving that, you create the file by using create text file method. You can create the text file and then you write the data. So what we have done first, we are checking whether the log file exists or not. If it is exists, verifying whether it is created or not. Sorry, if it is created today or sometime back. If it is created sometime back, then what we do? We will move it. If it is created today, then we will use that open text file. By using open text file, we open it. We will open it in appending mode, and then we will write the data. If it is not today, then what we will do? We will move it, and then we will create a new file. By using create text file, we will write the data into the file. So like this, there are certain situations where we use all this. So sometimes we have like this. When you are working some applications, those applications may generate some files. You may need to download those files into the local system, or you may need to place it. Or sometimes what happens is when you click on save, some XML file or text file and all will be generated, will be placed in one server. You have to verify whether that file is created or not. Once I click on save button, all these things, whenever you need to deal with the files and all, you can use this kind of methods. Okay, FSO. This is how we deal with the files by using FSO. When it comes to the text file, you can create a file, or you can read the data from the file, you can write the data into the file, anything that you can do. Create text file and open text file. Read methods and write methods are only for text streams. But these methods like moving file, deleting file, copying file, or checking for file exists or not, and accessing the file, why we access to retrieve the properties and methods of that file and all these things can be done for any of the file by using file system object. Okay, so this is about working with the files in the file system object, and we also have working with folders. Okay, we'll do that tomorrow. Okay, but working with folders may not take this much time because there are many things that we had to do here. But working with folders is like this. Probably what all you have to do is, maybe you need to create a folder, or you need to check a folder exists or not, or you may need to copy the folder from one location to another location, or you may need to move the folder or delete the folder, anything. This is basic actions. But apart from this, you may need to do this. When I have a folder, I need to understand how many files are there inside the folder, and I need to understand how many folders are there inside the folder, what type of files that I have. Like I have maybe plenty of the files I have in a folder. What I need to do is, I need to separate those files. I need to copy text files into some other folder, all text files. I need to copy all Word document files into some other folder, and I need to delete all the empty files. Okay, or I need to understand, sometimes some requirements are like this. I need to understand out of all this, which file is created first, which file was created last, or what is the file which has got the highest size, the maximum size, what is the file which has got lowest size, what is the average size of text files, what is the average size of Word documents, few things like that. But these are not real-time documents. To understand more logics, that's it. To understand the loops and some logics and all, we need to understand. Okay, so tomorrow we will see all this. Okay, clear, right? This working with the files and all. Write down a small exercise here.